This is Watteau's Venetian Pleasures. It was based on an opera ballet entitled Les Fêtes Vénitiennes. It was first performed in Paris in 1710 and repeated many times over the next 25 or so years. The Polish prince and the beautiful shy young woman of the Paris performance is replaced here by a self-confident man dressed in a mock Eastern attire, dancing a duet in a garden, which parallels the second entrance of the ballet. The title appeared in Lauren Carr's engraving of the picture made for the Récit Julien and announced in the Mercure de France in July of 1732. The lively and engaging four groups behind the pair are engrossed in their own conversations and gallant demeanors. The large urn behind and above the central elegant woman has a ram's head, which also relates to Bacchic activity, with satyrs and maenads. The nymph statue above the waterfall seems to be eyeing the sensitive, sad-looking bagpipe player, dressed as a shepherd, who looks longingly toward the woman. The curves and arches of walls and trees remind one of the Rococo stylistic forms. The male figure is a portrait of Nicholas Vlegel, Vleughels, who is a friend and fellow painter, also of Flemish origin, to Watteau, who, though a history painter, also admired Rubens and Veronese, and, like Watteau, also attended Crossat's gatherings at his townhouse. The artist, who is represented by the bagpiper, or musette player as they were known at the time, admires the central figure, a sensitive, agreeable, mildly rustic individual. Vlegel and Watteau probably lived in the same rooming house on the Rue de Cardinal Lemorne in 1719. This work by Watteau is known as Pierrot, Pierrot, one of the figures from the Italian comedy. Sometimes it's also called Gilles, Gilles, another figure. It's in the Musée du Louvre. There's little information on the work, which is one of the most inspired paintings of Watteau. In fact, it influenced poets, writers, filmmakers in the late 19th and 20th centuries. This was probably produced as a billboard for the theater, where the clown is a larger-than-life figure who seems very real and down to earth. He is awkward, and his stupidity seems to be alluded to by the donkey on the left side, lower side of the painting. There is a note of seriousness and reflection in the other players just behind the towering figure of Pierrot, or Gilles, who cannot be avoided by the clown's closeness to us. It is possible the hero is the actor Belloni, Belloni, in his new role as owner of a coffee house, and his friends in the background who served as models. Pierrot is motionless. He's silent, separated from the others. His trousers are too short, which show his elegant slippers. He is disarmingly naive, a straightforward, serious figure. 2 years after the Italian comedy was permitted to return to France after an 18-year exile. And so this celebrates that return. This work is entitled The Shop Sign of Gersant, Gersaint, from 1720. This large two-piece panel hung outside of Gersant's shop window under a covered arcade. It's currently in Berlin. This painting was produced after Watteau's return from England in pursuit of a treatment for his illness. It was a signboard for his friend and the art dealer Edmond Francois Gersant. A very large painting two panels reunited into one piece in the 20th century. This shop window was on the Notre Dame Bridge crossing the Seine River. This is where the signboard appeared. It was painted in about 8 days as a token of the art dealer's friendship and support to Watteau. Commonly believed that art presented here was representative of the fashions of the time. The reactions of customers were also indicative of reactions of the customers and spectators. We can see the loading of a create with a Louis XIV portrait on the left-hand side, adjacent to a young suitor helping his friend into the store. On the right side, an older couple minutely examines a painting while a younger woman next to them looks at herself admiringly in the counter. We see young and old in both art and fashion in what is probably a cross-section of French society, observed with wit and with fashion. The shop sign was very popular. It was taken down, cut down, at the top to give it a rectangular shape, and it was sold to a prominent collector. It was purchased by Frederick the Great, the German ruler, for his Charlottenburg Palace in Berlin. The painting now is seen as a somewhat idealized image of the interaction between the art dealer and his client. The dealer's shop is presented here as a site of aristocratic pleasure and promises a lifestyle that flows from the possession of objects for sale. There is the shop everyday concerns, which are suspended, and the elite expose themselves to conspicuous leisure and self-display. The dealer and his wife are echoed in the respectable people near the counter. We see the dealer behind the portrait, and we see his wife next to the counter holding the mirror. On the walls there are a number of paintings by Flemish and Venetian masters. Louis XIV's picture alludes to the name of the shop, Au Grand Monarque, and perhaps a note about the passage of time, the deceased monarch, the display of straw, which is practical, but also the temporariness of evanescent natural life can be seen in the street. Gerson is behind the oval picture, and his wife is at the counter explaining art to a young prospective buyer. At the shop's entrance, to the left is a young man averagely dressed, holding a baton in his left hand, and on the right side we see a dog biting fleas. This points to the mundane, ordinary world of the cobblestone street just beyond the shop.